The garden behind the old stone house had long been forgotten. Wildflowers had taken over the once neat paths, and ivy crawled up the fence like it was trying to remember where it came from. In the middle of it all stood a weathered wooden post, and hanging from its arm was a delicate wind chime, 5 thin silver bells and a heart-shaped stone in the centre. No one paid much attention to it. After all, the house had been empty for years. That is, until Sophie arrived. Sophie was quiet. Since the move, she hadn't said much. The loss of her grandfather had left a space in her heart that even her favourite stuffed bear couldn't fill. Her parents had moved to this old house in hopes of a fresh start, but Sophie wasn't sure how to begin anything again. Everything felt strange. Everything felt wrong. The day they moved in, Sophie wandered into the back garden while the grown-ups unpacked boxes and clanged around inside. The place was overgrown, but something about it felt calm. She stepped carefully between tall blades of grass, brushing past flowers she didn't recognize. That's when she noticed the wind chime. It hung gently, unmoving in the warm, still air. Sophie tilted her head. It was beautiful, simple but elegant. She stared at it for a long time, then sat beneath it on the mossy stone bench. She didn't expect it to ring. There wasn't a breeze, not even a flutter. But just as she looked away, ding, 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 the chimes began to sing, softly, sweetly, like a lullaby. Sophie's eyes widened. The trees were still. The leaves weren't rustling. There was no wind at all. She stood and looked around, puzzled. But no one else was there. Her parents hadn't noticed. Only the bells had spoken, and they'd spoken just to her. That night, Sophie couldn't stop thinking about the chime. She dreamed of soft melodies and stone hearts that glowed in the moonlight. And the next evening, just as the sun dipped low and the sky turned lavender, she returned to the bench. Once again, the chime rang without a breeze. Ding! Ding! And somehow it didn't feel spooky. It felt like a greeting, a hello from someone who meant no harm. So Sophie spoke. "Hello," she whispered. The chime answered with a gentle ding. Sophie smiled. "Are you someone?" Another ring. She visited every night after that. Sometimes she told the chime about her day. Other times she sat in silence and let its notes fill the space between her thoughts. She told it how she missed her grandfather, how she wished she could hear his voice again. And on those nights, the bell rang a little longer, like it was humming just for her. Then one day, while helping her mum unpack a dusty box of books from the attic, Sophie found something, a photo album. Tucked inside was a yellowed envelope. It read, "For whoever finds this garden." Sophie opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, handwritten in soft looping cursive. "This chime was made for love, not weather. If it rings without wind, it means someone is listening. I made it for my granddaughter so she'd always know I was near, even after I was gone. This garden was our place. If you're reading this, I hope the chime has sung to you too. It means you need it, and that love never really leaves." Martha Jameson. Sophie's breath caught. She ran to the garden with the letter in hand and looked up at the wind chime. For the first time, she noticed tiny carvings on the heart-shaped stone in the centre, MJ. It hadn't been her grandfather who made the chime, but someone else's. Still, Sophie felt like she had found something meant just for her. That evening, she sat on the bench and read the letter out loud. When she finished, the chime rang more clearly than ever before, and something inside her heart softened. From that day on, Sophie tended the garden. She trimmed the grass, planted daisies, and cleared the ivy from the fence. She added a little wooden sign that read, "Whisper Garden." Her parents watched in awe as their quiet daughter found peace, one petal at a time. Other children in the neighborhood heard about the chime that sang without wind. Some came to listen, others to sit quietly and think. They didn't always hear it, but Sophie did. She always did. Because the bell wasn't just a bell, it was a reminder that some things can be felt, even when they can't be seen. that love doesn't vanish when people go away, and that healing comes not all at once but in soft little rings when you least expect them. And whenever a sad or lonely heart wandered into the garden, the chime would ring again, without wind, without warning, but always, always with love.